What's up, everyone? Thank you for checking out and supporting this episode of Raised a Geek. This week, we talk about the two-episode premiere of Star Wars Acolyte, now streaming on Disney Plus. Where does it rank in the Star Wars universe? Let's find out. I'm Chris, and as always, I'm here with my buddy Don. How we doing, man?
Chris, what is up today, my friend? Everything is good. Can't complain too much.
Even though
Just
we just spent like a half an hour complaining before.
yeah, we just complained a lot pre recording to each other about adulting and life and how we both have to go cut the grass in this heat. Yeah, that's on my to-do list.
HOAs, we saved you
HOA.
all. We saved all our rants about HOAs and summer heat and adult purchase decisions.
Yeah, just our typical complaining
Yeah.
pre-show. Yeah, I got to go cut the grass. I know we were talking about it's too hot to do that. Also, another obstacle I'm gonna have out there today, I can already foresee it is, and I don't know if you can hear it, how good this microphone is. You probably can't, but the freaking cicadas
Well, yeah, you guys have those.
is
They're still
driving me.
doing their thing.
They're at peak
Oh,
annoyance, peak irritation. It's
need those noise
ridiculous.
canceling.
Oh my God, dude. Like, is this just a Midwest thing or something? Because you don't have them, you don't really have them where you are, right?
We
So it's
not nothing like that. I can hear them every once in a while. And I think we have cicadas like something, but yeah, no, it was always an up there thing.
yeah, they're just I know it's like every 17 years and you're like, or however many years, like some are 12, some are 17, I don't know, but it's like cool at first, like, yeah, the cicadas are back. What an interesting natural phenomenon. These bugs that live underground and come up and then they get here and you're like, these things gotta go. They're disgusting. They're everywhere. They're on all the trees. They're flying around as I'm trying to drive. I'm like hitting them in my car, like hearing like I'm like Jesus, and I'm like ducking when I see them coming at the windshield. It's driving me insane. And like out cutting the grass, I have to cut around a couple of trees, so I'm getting close, and I'm looking, and these cicadas are 2 inches from my face. Like, please don't go in my mouth. Like,
I don't go in my mouth.
uh, uh
Yeah, I don't have to deal with
hate
that.
them. I hate. I'm over it. I need them to be done. I think like they were saying mid-June, late June, that it'll be over, but it's just like, oh man, you've taken over this world long enough. Go
A little
away.
bit, a little
So
bit, a little bit.
anyway,
I remember hearing a lot about it at first, and then you guys clearly sharing videos and stuff. But yeah, no, we don't have any crazy infestations of cicadas. We have our own problems
yeah,
with
they're I'm over it.
heat and bugs and scorpions and tarantulas and all that fun
Oh,
stuff. Yeah.
I can't live anywhere that ever has I would say tarantulas. I know that's not my whole life I've been like tarantula. It's tarantula. Yeah.
Hmm.
I have
Yeah.
arachnophobia in my life anyway, and just like small spiders I'm not a fan of. So anything that has a huge thing like that, I don't know how you do that or see those and don't
I
like
don't see them
pass
too
out.
often. When I worked at the hotel, we kind of had like a woodsy area around us. So we would find them at the hotel every once in a while. I swear when I was driving to work one time, I saw one run across the street and I was like, what the hell was that? And I was like, oh my God, because it was running weird. And I was like, was that a tarantula that was big enough that I saw it while I was driving? And I was like,
Ugh.
that's insane. And that was like a mile from my house. So I'm like, where do you live? Weird giant spider. So yeah, that was
Just again, don't come in my house. Don't be anywhere near me. Yeah, like
I've never
I know.
seen any of those things in my house. I saw a scorpion outside once. I always check
Ugh.
my shoes just in case. But I lived 3 miles from the hotel I worked at, and we would find those things all the time. So I was like, I know they're in the area.
Ugh.
Yeah, we got
Terrible,
our own
terrible,
crazy things in Texas. So
terrible.
it is terrible. It is terrible. Sometimes I don't like sharing this world with nature, but
No, I know.
then you see a cute deer and you're like, oh, you're my friend.
That's the ones I
So
like.
yeah, I like things that are soft and I feel like I could domesticate.
Things
You
that
could
don't
be my
seem like
friend.
they can kill 'em.
The things that cartoons taught us
Yeah,
have
yeah,
souls.
yeah, yeah,
Bambi. I want to take care of Bambi. Bambi's cute.
yeah.
Spiders, there's no cute spiders that,
No,
well, I guess
Spi-
Charlotte's Web tried to teach us that, but Charlotte's Web was boring. So
no. Charlotte can die too. I don't care.
she
Spiders can
did
all die.
die.
Oh my God, you're right.
Spoilers.
Wilbur.
I don't know. Maybe I never liked that movie because it made me sad. So
I
I
haven't
didn't
thought
like,
about Charlotte's Web in 30 years. You just unlocked
A core memory.
A repressed memory about Charlotte's Web.
Yeah. They always used to make us watch that in school, and I was like, please don't.
They did. They, they did.
I don't want to watch this movie. It is
Yeah.
boring and then
Sad.
sad. Like, I don't like feeling these feelings as a small child.
Right.
But let's talk about some Star Wars.
Sure, why
We've
not?
just nonsense babbled for 3 minutes. So let's talk about some Star Wars. We got a new Star Wars show this week. Star Wars Acolyte premiered on
Mhm.
Disney Plus. We're getting 8 episodes. We've gotten two. So we wanted to talk
Yes.
about the first couple episodes. Before we get started, make sure if you watch these episodes and you have any thoughts that you'd like to share with us or any questions as the show moves forward, shoot us an email at raisethegeek@gmail.com, or you can like and subscribe the show on all podcast services. And you can always follow us just like everybody is on social media at Raise the Geek. If there's a channel, we are there. If we aren't, reach out to us and let us know. But we're there somewhere. So join the conversation and let us know what you thought about Star Wars Acolyte, as we are about to let you know what we thought about it and
Star Wars.
how this is going to go. Star Wars. We kind of just did Ahsoka was the last real Star Wars thing.
Hmm.
So I know we've talked about and we both really enjoyed Ahsoka. The couple
Yes.
before that, neither one of us watched Mandalorian season 3,
We did not. No.
and Obi-Wan I think came after that, and we talked about that. There are our thoughts about Obi-Wan, which seemed
There's been a there's been a stream of Star Wars kind of lately, and it's all been shows, really.
yeah, they haven't done a
Um,
movie since 9.
yeah, there hasn't been a film since nine. Just a lot of Disney Plus series. You and I talked about. We sat in on the Rebels reunion at C2E2, so that kind of got us thinking Star Wars. So I mean,
Mm-hmm.
there has been a decent amount of Star Wars content over the past couple years. I don't want to say it's been too much, but also not getting a proper movie like a Star Wars movie again might be nice too. But I mean, these shows, and we've been back and forth on it. We've had our thoughts on. Some have been really good, some have been not so good, some have been bad, like Boba Fett, like we both did not like, and other maybe something else we didn't like too much, but
Obi-Wan
it,
had its moments. There were like Obi-Wan was frustrating because there were like there's the premise, the idea, everything about it seemed like a home run. And then the execution always
Mhm.
seems to be the problem with these Star Wars shows. Like my thing is they always seem a little too simple. And I understand. I think George Lucas was just out in the world saying this again, Star Wars is for kids. Star Wars
Right.
was always made for kids. So the idea that we want complex stories and all of this like intrigue and all of these things like really shouldn't be a complaint for anybody. Like these are theoretically kid shows. Then they give us like an Andor, which was
I
very
was gonna say,
complex and
yeah,
very kind of cool. So then
yeah,
you're like, wait, you can do this, can't you?
yeah. You get something like Andor that sets the standards, then resets the standard
Right?
very high for you, and so I understand kind of both sides of the argument.
Mm-hmm.
Um, at the end of the day, I just want to be entertained. So
Right.
if something's complex and intriguing like Andor, that's great. But then something can also not be so serious and a little lighthearted. But as long as I'm still entertained, I'm cool with it. It's just I
Yeah.
need still something of substance, like good storytelling.
How do you feel your expectations affect that? Like, do you have any expectations for a Star Wars show at this point?
Not anymore. I don't. I mean, I just want it to be good. I don't need it to reach a certain level
Mm-hmm.
because like you and I have talked about Star Wars, I'm not even like a huge Star Wars lore guy. Like I just follow like the main stuff they put on TV. Like I don't play all the video games and read all the comic books and read all the novels and like I can't even answer questions about some of the movies that I've seen because I haven't seen all of them a bunch of times over and over again. So at the end of the day, I just like a good sci-fi universe
Yeah.
that I kind of have an idea what's going on. I get the whole blueprint that they set out for this world and what it is, and like it's war in the stars. That's all I'm kind of looking for.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I don't really go in with too high of expectations or like set myself up to be super disappointed unless something's just really bad. Like I said, Boba Fett, like I expected more out of that. But
That one, there was some hype behind that. Like we were getting a Boba Fett show. Like Boba Fett became a character that was like beloved and really became one of like the main faces of Star Wars for no real reason. He was in Return of the Jedi for like 3 minutes, but for whatever reason, his he just
he's just
became
like a
iconic. And
cult status character, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
so the fact that they kind of built him up into something, and we were finally going to get like a Boba Fett show, and then that was what they gave us, and you're just like, wait,
Yeah, yeah,
this is
yeah.
the best you guys could come up with, and that's always kind of frustrating. But anyway, I was just curious. Did you have any expectations going into Acolyte?
No, not really. I just was gonna kind of check it out, be along for the ride, and I knew that it was gonna be something kind of different from an era we haven't really seen too much of in a show,
Hmm.
like set long before the Skywalker saga. So I was kind of just open to. I just was going in with an open mind about it. Like you just said, the last thing we got was Ahsoka, which I did enjoy. So I was like not anti Star Wars at this moment, which that could change at any time.
Yeah,
So yeah, I kind of was just
it's
going.
so early in this conversation.
Yeah. What about you? Any
No, I really had zero hype. I don't even know if I watched a trailer for it. I was aware that Squid Game was in it, and I was aware that Carrie Ann Moss was in it.
Squid Game? Squid
Um,
Game name.
I was aware that they were in it. Like I might have saw glimpses of little moments of little fight scenes or something. I think I might have saw like some I might have I don't think I sat and watched the trailer. I think I was just like whatever. I'll watch it when it comes out and make my opinion, but I really had no
I
like I
was
said,
actually
my
yeah.
Star Wars hype level is really non-existent at this point.
I was even kind of confused about the release. I didn't even really know it was coming out the next thing. I thought the next thing was going to be that Skeleton Crew thing with Jude Law. I always was under the assumption that was their next project, but I don't know. I guess I don't keep tabs too close on Star Wars, what's coming out and what's next or whatever. So,
Nope.
yeah, Star Wars.
All right. Star Wars Acolyte, as I said earlier, dropped 2 episodes over on Disney Plus. Here's going to be a quick synopsis for you out there who may not know, or a quick reminder. Star Wars Acolyte is set a century before the rise of the Galactic Empire. It dives into a time of peace under the Galactic Republic and the Jedi Order. The series follows Osha, a former Jedi Padawan who becomes entangled in a mysterious and dangerous plot. After being accused of a crime she claims she didn't commit, Osha embarks on a journey that leads her to uncover dark secrets and confront her past. As she searches for the truth, Osha faces threats from both old and new adversaries, challenging her beliefs and testing her resolve. With rich storytelling, The Acolyte explores the complexities of the Force and the intricate balance between light and dark. So,
Ooh.
Star Wars time. I guess the first question I kind of want to ask, and kind of as we dive into like the initial reaction, because I feel like these kind of go hand in hand to a degree, but like how did you feel about the show in general, but then also just the setting? This is one of the first times that we're getting like a main Star Wars show that's not set within, you can't really put it within the Skywalker era. It's like, oh, it's between 3 and 4. Oh, it's between, 6 and 7. Oh, it's after 9, or it's this. This is just 100 years before any of that shit happened.
Mhm.
And we're actually getting to a place where the Empire doesn't exist in any way, which I don't feel like we've really ever explored that area on film or TV
Right.
before. So just like your initial reactions, but then also just the setting. It's a very different setting.
Yeah, yeah. The setting is kind of interesting because, like you just kind of were alluding to, every Star Wars thing we've had, the 9 movies and all the shows, well, more than 9 movies, like even the little side extra
Mhm.
movie, couple extra movies too, have all somewhat revolved around the Skywalker saga. You had Luke and Leia in that main one, then you do the prequels, which is Anakin as a kid growing up, he's still Skywalker, and then the three that came after all that still all ties like freaking Mark Hamill's in one of them, and it still very revolves around that time. So going
Mhm.
this far back is a cool choice because it just kind of opens the sandbox a little bit more to play with. And I know like High Republic is a thing that is explored very heavily in books written and comics and a lot of different things like that. All stuff I don't take. like partake in. I don't read Star Wars comics or read Star Wars books, but this is an era they have explored in those medias over the past few years. I know Charles Sewell, we've talked about him before, is a very heavily involved in that. He's written a couple books and comics, and there's a few other creators who all kind of do this. So to kind of see that be the setting for this show is interesting to me. It's like, huh, it's not connected to all that. I can kind of go in with a fresh slate and see what was going on in this world before 100 years before anybody thought about Luke and Leia and Anakin. You know what I mean?
Yeah, until we
Um,
get to episode 3, where like Anakin's grandfather shows up.
right? I am Andre Skywalker. Andre Skywalker. But yeah, so that part is cool to me. I like that being kind of just like a blank slate that like even trying to get people to watch this show who haven't watched any Star Wars, you can tell them you could probably go into this one fresh and not know anything about Star Wars and still just watch this as its own kind of standalone thing, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
As far as what I thought about the first 2 episodes, I liked them. I thought they were interesting. I like the way that they're kind of they feel a little different but also familiar at the same time. Like it's not doing the some goofiness that you get with like Mandalorian at times. It's not as serious as something like Andor, but it's kind of a blend of
Hmm.
of both those things. It's like, so maybe during these 8 episodes it'll find this balance between the silly Star Wars that you sometimes get and the super serious, and just be something that is its
Hmm.
own freestanding thing. But yeah, I liked the action. Sometimes the dialogue and script was a little iffy at times, just like, I don't know, the writing. But I can look past that enough because I was entertained by what I saw. Like
Yeah.
some cool lightsaber action, Jedi's, a mystery going on that it seems like you're gonna have to kind of pay attention to this whole time to kind of figure out what's going on. So we'll talk about why, but so far I got no complaints with the first two. I sat and watched them and was engaged the whole time. So I like what I've seen at this point, 2 episodes in. Your thoughts on all that?
Yes, I liked the 2 episodes. I enjoyed my time with them. I feel like I struggled in points. The script is weak. There are moments where I'd be like, why'd they do that? That they're really just putting a lot of faith into this one thing, and there's just a lot of soul. He just very much just kind of seemed like he was just believe anything anyone told him. Like I was like, man, he just changed his mind real quick, and like there were just lots of things that didn't fully. I feel like the script is lazy, but with that said, I enjoyed what I watched. Like I said, it was Star Wars. It was lighthearted while still kind of having a heavy story going on in the background. There were some choices that I thought were poor in making people like this show. Like you kind of, I don't know. There were some things which we'll talk about here in a minute that were just kind of like, wait, why did they do that? That
Mm-hmm.
doesn't make any sense. Like, why are you going to make me watch this show? Most of it's the opening for me. Like they
Okay.
really, the opening of this show, I watched and I was getting so into it, and then everything turned immediately and I was like, wait, what am I watching? Like it just they really it really threw me off. And I know it was supposed to be a shock and a twist and blah blah blah, but it almost worked to the detriment where I was almost just like, why am I watching this show? So
Oh, I'm gonna
um
have to hear about that.
yeah. So like I said, I enjoyed the show. There definitely has its flaws. It definitely follows a lot of the Star Wars TV Disney Plus show curses that seem to be following most of these shows. And a lot
Mhm.
of it just comes down to, I think, just weak simple scripts. Like they're not, and it comes back to the comment I made before. Star Wars is for kids. So I don't feel like I need to stop watching these shows thinking I'm going to get this intrigue and it's going to like challenge me mentally and I'm going to like get something out of it outside of popcorn entertainment. And from a popcorn entertainment standpoint, I enjoyed my time watching this show. I thought everybody did a good job. I had I
It's not Dune, is what you're saying.
Yeah, it's not. It's just not. Sometimes you just
Yeah.
want to. You want more out of it, and at this
Mhm.
point, I think I've realized Star Wars isn't the property to give me more. So it's going to give me what it gives me, and if I like it, then I have to go into these projects thinking that, and that's what my expectations were super low for this, and it exceeded my expectations, and I enjoyed myself. Now, the rest of this conversation might not sound like,
Yeah.
but that's just me what
Yeah.
I wish and how I feel the show could have been stronger and could have been better, but that's just for a me thing. And that's not anything to take away from enjoyment of others, but that was just a me thing.
Yeah.
But no, I dug
And
it.
and we have 6 episodes left to go, so our opinions could change, you know.
And it did. And it did.
Yeah.
From where it started to where I ended episode 2, I was like, okay,
Hmm.
I'm here for this. Like, I see where you're going. Some of their decisions were starting to be justified already. I was like, okay, this is the story you want to tell. Okay, then let's go down this path. Is it a predictable story? Is it original? No. But let's see what they do with it and see if they do have something. So like I said, I enjoyed it.
What about the timeline? You into it? Not
Yeah, I
being.
really, I mirror a lot of what you said. I know it's an explored timeline, but not for me. So this is all
Mhm.
fresh for me. I don't know anything about the High Republic era, but I like the idea of before the Empire. I like the idea of like the Siths kind of being underground and like secretly training their acolytes and their apprentices and not really knowing who's going to pop up. It's not going to, I mean, maybe it will be, but maybe the Sith Lord who's training people is someone from a cartoon that we don't know. But as far as I'm aware, I think it's original. So
Mhm.
I ain't going to know who it is
Right.
unless it's some high profile something, that I didn't see coming, or like what's his face, the Emperor.
Palpatine,
Is it
right?
Palpatine again? They're going to bring Palpatine back. But yeah, I really dig the era of just being different and being a little bit older and kind of just
Mhm.
exploring something different and not within that. I don't have to think about where is this placed and what's happening in the main thing. I can just go back 100 years and let them tell me a story. And I really appreciate that because I do get lost of if this is taking place between 3 and 4 or 6 and 7.
Mhm.
And that's what always happens to the Mandalorian because in my brain I keep jumping from one to the other and I can't remember and I can't keep it straight. So then things that happen don't make sense to me anymore. And I'm like, wait, why did that? Oh, this is then, not then. But then why'd they do? And it leads to confusion to me because I'm simple sometimes.
Same,
I'm
same,
Star
same.
Wars, Star Wars simple.
Star Wars symbol. That's our motto.
Yeah, which is fun. So like I said, go in pulpy, just kind of space, like you said, antics. I
Sure.
enjoy, and they don't. There's not a lot of space stuff out there, ultimately from a high profile standard. So I do try to enjoy what I can get. I've watched some garbage just because it's somewhat sci-fi.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I mean, I guess really what came out of these 2 episodes for the most part that you really need to talk about is we got to talk about Carrie Ann Moss, right?
Oh
Indara
man. Yeah.
and the
Yeah.
opening of this show and what they did and kind of how they set us up, saying that they set us up with the area in which we were and told us
Hmm.
that there are, secret users being taught the force, kind of
Hmm.
insinuating that they're the bad guys that are troublesome, but there are secret force users out there and or unauthorized force users, I think she called
Right.
them.
Yeah.
And then we kind of just jumped into this story and we got the first action opening set piece with Carrie Ann Moss as a Jedi,
Indara, Master Indara.
Master Indara doing her
Mm.
Jedi Trinity thing.
Yeah, for sure. Totally. First scene of the first opening sequence of the show kind of introduced you to her character, and then we just kind of are in it. She
Mhm,
the who we find out later is May, but
mhm.
you don't know at the time the names of what's going on, but she comes into this like noodle shop or bar where all these Jedi are sitting and kind of challenges her to a fight and is looking for her revenge. And they have a cool, very cool action sequence that I was kind of set the tone for the action of this show, which I thought was cool. It's fun to see Carrie Ann Moss because being just like, people who appreciate the Matrix, it's cool to see her in a role like this. She's just a cool presence. I
Yeah.
don't know how to explain that really. So as far as tone setting for the action, I thought they really accomplished something good. I liked seeing how that all looked. It wasn't like cheesy in any way. It actually was, some cool fight for choreography mixed in with like force. I like when they do that. Like throw the force in there and you got lightsabers and you got people doing kicks and punches and like dodging, but then also like every now and then someone throws out the force. Like this is just cool. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know why I
It
always just enjoy that.
it reminded me of like I know this happened a lot like late 90s, early 2000s. I know with the Matrix and stuff, but like wire work. And you'd have this crazy like
Mm,
crouching tiger wire work, martial arts kind of action, which you almost just have to like Kill Bill did it too, where you had to almost just kind of like this is what it is, but you couldn't justify it with physics because it
right.
doesn't make sense how they're moving. They're like running in the air, kicking their feet, and you're just like, that looks so cheesy but cool. But
You
like
have to, yeah,
they did it here, and then you could in your brain, it was the first time I was able to watch choreography like this, and in my brain I could be like, they're doing it with the force.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I was just like justified that they could do this. And I was like, holy shit, that's kind of awesome. Like, why haven't we gotten martial arts Star Wars before? Like,
Hmm.
why did it take this long?
You have to suspend your belief a little bit
Yeah,
to
usually.
just enjoy how it looks.
Yeah,
You know, you know,
but not
but
now. I didn't
right,
in this show.
right.
I mean, outside of suspending my disbelief that the force is a thing,
Is
that,
it's
they
a
could
thing.
do it.
We all know the force is not a real thing that
Yeah,
exists,
yeah.
as
But
much
it
as we wish it was.
Yeah, sometimes, especially with the way they were using it. So yeah, having this like very detailed choreography done with mixed with the force, the jumping, the wire work, the like I said, Carrie Ann Moss of it just being like the Matrix and seeing her kind of in that role again of being like in control of what she's doing and just like you said, she's just with the Matrix, she's just kind of became a actress in our hearts and heads that when we see her, we're like, hell yeah, like the coolest. Because in the 90s, she was pretty much the coolest chick in
Right,
movies. Like
right.
Trinity
For
just was
action
badass
movies,
across
yeah.
the board. There really wasn't anything.
An ass kicking lady.
Yeah,
What do
and there wasn't a
you?
lot of those then.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
unless you went and like looked and watched like underground martial arts movies, some Michelle Yeoh movies, or did some stuff,
Mhm.
like Carrie Ann Moss was the badass chick doing martial arts with the dudes and keeping up with them and doing that on a mainstream Hollywood level. I feel like,
which which made it all the more confusing as to, not confusing, but just like taken aback is why they killed her immediately in this show. Spoilers. Oh, did we say that? I mean,
eh,
I'm sure
I
you
usually
assume.
put it in the title.
But like, did that surprise you? That
Yes,
okay.
yes.
Me
And it
too.
almost took me completely out of the show because part of the only hook I knew about this entire show
Mhm.
was Carrie Ann Moss as a Jedi. That's all I knew.
Awesome. Right. Awesome.
So
Let's
I was like,
go.
sweet.
Let's
I
go.
really didn't need any more. I was like, I'm probably gonna watch this just for that alone. And then to get this badass opening scene, and then she gets killed. And I was like, wait, that's it?
Mhm. Mhm.
And it genuinely was upsetting. Like I was and I mean, I guess that's good that I mean, and that's probably part of the reason why they did it was because they wanted you to be immediately attached to this character. So
Mhm.
you felt like that, but at the same time I didn't know what I was supposed to be feeling because I didn't know what the show was. So if anything, I just kind of was like upset and I was just sitting there like, well, why am I watching this now? Like
Yeah.
I was literally there for I was like, I don't know who this. And then especially when they went straight from that scene ending to then they
Mhm.
showed us with Osha like waking up and we're following her and I'm like, I don't want to follow her, she just killed Trinity.
Right.
Like I don't
Right.
care about this girl. And then she was just like lighthearted and like joking around. And I'm like, what is the vibe of this show? Like I
Mhm.
was like sitting there just thinking, I'm like, we just watched her kill someone. Clearly, this is what they wanted you to think because I can't be
Right.
alone in these thoughts. And they clearly wanted us to then, but I'm sitting there and I was almost like spiteful against OSHA because I'm just
Mhm.
like, I don't like you. Like you just killed the only reason I was here watching this show. So
Mhm.
I'm just like watching her story kind of start, and I was like, what are they doing?
They're gonna try to make me care about this person who I already don't.
Yeah,
Right.
I don't. So
Right.
what are you doing here? And it was very
Mhm.
confusing in that it was a very confusing way to start the show. And I don't know, in my head watching it, I felt like it was a dangerous way to start the show because
Mhm.
I feel like there was a real chance that people could have been like, fuck this show.
Mhm.
And I'm not saying that
Possible.
I'm not, and I sat through to do it, but I knew we were going to podcast about it. Would I
Right.
have kept watching it if I knew we weren't going to podcast about it? I can't obviously speak to that timeline, but
Maybe not. Maybe
maybe
not.
not. Maybe so. I mean, I've definitely been curious as to why they did it. It was just one of those like story beats that I'm just like, I understand the appeal of wanting to take a big name actress
Mhm.
and advertiser and put her in everything and get everyone pumped to see it and then take it away as kind of a surprise. Like anything can happen on this show. We killed Carrie Ann Moss in the first 10 minutes, but
Yeah, this is like Sean Bean in Game of Thrones. This is like probably a more apt comparison is like this is Drew Barrymore in Scream, where you put her
Yeah.
on all the posters and she's the biggest name actress in it, and you kill her in the first 5 minutes. And you're like, what am I watching with
Yeah.
this? But yeah, it made me bummed out. It totally kind of bummed me out just because like I was looking forward to seeing her
Hmm.
headline a Star Wars show as a Jedi Master for 8 episodes.
Especially once
So
I was getting like the Matrix martial arts with the Force. I was
yeah,
like, hell yes, that's why they cast her in this movie because they're
right.
going to go all out. And then I was like, wait,
Hmm.
it really took the wind out of my sails, man.
Yeah, me too. And I'm gonna chalk it up to a storytelling device that they're trying to use. They're trying to throw you off and like give you a curveball swerve right at the very beginning and be like, oh, this isn't going to be the show you thought it was going to be, which is fine. But it's just kind of like at the same time, I'm like, ah, man, that's a bummer. And especially you killed her with a knife in her chest. Like a Jedi Master, she would get thrown off that much where she be getting stabbed. She just got stabbed. Like, okay, well, if she's a Jedi Master, I feel like it would take more than that, more than just like a distraction to whatever.
She's got two hands. She couldn't force stop two knives.
Right. Just hold her forced back while you decide to
I
check
mean,
on the other guy.
we saw later, and this is like I said, the I don't cheap writing, lazy writings, whatever it was, but we saw later when she went to go assassinate that weird meditating dude that looked like fucking like Kenny Rogers. He looked like a BG, or he looked like one of those dudes from the 70s that was like,
I have a theory about his appearance, but go on.
okay, I can't wait to hear that.
Yeah,
But like this dude isn't even part of this universe mentally, but he's got like a force field that she can't touch him. But Carrie Ann
penetrate.
Moss gets stabbed in the chest. You're like, wait,
Yeah.
she couldn't, there's nothing that she could do. I mean,
So there's different levels of Jedi concentration that she didn't have or something. Like
like she
nobody's
was
stabbing Yoda in the chest. Like
right.
he wouldn't have let that happen. So just the fact that all you had to do is distract her for a second, and then you can just stab her in the chest with like a fruit knife. Um,
Yeah.
eh, kind of a
Yeah.
weird
I
way
didn't,
to whatever.
it was, and it didn't fully make sense. And like I said, it is what it is, but it was a weird way to start the show. And then, like I said, to jump straight into OSHA, not
Yeah.
knowing that it was clearly her that was behind the mess doing it. It also really quickly gives away their surprise that she has a twin because you're like, well, clearly it wasn't this girl.
Right.
So that means she has a twin. That's lazy. I don't know.
Right.
The twin, the amnesia angle, like those are tropes.
Hmm.
Like, oh, my twin brother, those that's soap opera writing.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't remember because I have amnesia. Oh, my twin sister did it. You're like,
It's just like kind of like my brother, my sister is alive.
yeah,
Like that's one of
which
those.
they said multiple
No.
times in these two episodes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now,
I don't know. Go ahead.
I don't have a twin, and I've never
You
been
don't?
separated. No, I don't have a twin. I've never been separated from a twin. But is it weird that
Hmm.
two people that thought they've been dead, the other one was dead for 15 years,
Hmm.
and have no connection to each other? They have the same hairstyle.
I knew you were gonna say it is very strange.
That's
Like
strange, right?
it's another part of just like kind
Lazy
of
writing.
lazy writing. Look the other way. Like, come on. And like same exact hairstyle, like to the length, to like the color, everything. Okay. Real
Yeah,
believable, guys. Real
come on.
believable that
You could have easily given her different hair to make her stand out more and just covered it.
but if they would have gave her different hair, then you wouldn't have the storyline of everyone being like, "That's her. I saw her do it."
I
And so
know,
it's
but you could
yeah,
still tell enough without seeing the hair, like the eyes or something. Like you could. I
yeah.
know. I'm there. It's just it just
It's just
it.
this is us picking at it. I get it, but
Oh
it
no,
is
it's just the jokes that come out of watching these shows. Like, why do they have the
yeah,
same hair? Like, come
yeah,
on,
right.
come on.
Right. Yeah, it's funny. That part's
But
funny.
yeah,
I
I
like
don't
your
remember.
style, girl, when they finally meet each other.
You'll be
Same
like,
style
damn,
choices.
damn. We used the force here to really tell. And like I said, it was little things like that that just were kind of just like, huh? But I don't remember where we were going.
Well, this is a little out of order, but like, and since you mentioned it, it's one actor is playing two roles.
Hmm.
Does that ever just kind of annoy you a little? Just twin twins and whatever, and then when they have scenes you can tell they're not looking at each other. I know we've gotten better at this as time has gone by, but it used to be real cheesy back in the day when they would do stuff like this, and like you could
Multiplicity.
tell exactly stuff like that. Or it's just like, oh man, it's taking me out of it. And then like, oh, you're identical twins, but you're like identical twins. Like not a feature is different on you. We all know that's not true. We grew up going to school with twins and we could tell the difference. So like sometimes when they do stuff like this, I'm like, why don't you find real twins to cast in something like this who are there's some twin actor and actresses out there. Let's get two real people sometimes rather than just being like it's a dual role thing. It's Paul Rudd playing two guys who are twin brothers. Like, come on,
Does that
man.
movie exist?
There is a movie where he's twins. I never watched it. I think it's on like Apple Plus or something. Just it's kind of a thing there where it's just like, all right, two people playing one person playing two people. Okay, fine, but it's just kind of like, I don't know. It's just one of my little irritants sometimes.
I don't know who Amanda Steenberg is.
I think she was in Bodies. I think
Okay.
you, or she's been in a couple other things,
I'm
but
sure. And
yeah.
I might I watched Bodies. I enjoyed Bodies. So that's like, but I don't remember her. So
Okay.
like, I don't know. I always feel like the appeal is when it's somebody bigger, like Van Damme playing twin brothers. You're like, hell
Oh yeah.
yeah. Michael Keaton in Multiplicity doing four different versions of himself. You're just like, okay, this will be fun. But yeah, when it's like unknown, like I don't know who this girl is, and she's playing the exact same character, like not even slick her hair back like Van Damme did. Come on.
Right. Right. At least they gave Van Damme two different hairstyles.
Yes, they gave him two different hairstyles. I just watched that movie not too long ago, so it's very fresh in my
Wait, what's the name of that movie again?
Double Impact.
You're right.
You had
What's a
two
good one?
Van Dams doing stuff. I feel like he made a second movie where he played twins too, but it wasn't the like hook of it, like
Mm-hmm.
Maximum Risk or one of his like last big theatrical ones. I feel like he played twins in that one too, but it wasn't like a hook.
It's just a weird thing that
It
just
is.
I don't know why it bothers me. It's just it does. I don't know why.
And that comes across the whole conversation, which we're not really going to get into, but just who should be playing what roles. Like, should we have gotten twins for this role? Should we get someone who, is more, part of whatever culture or whatever thing we're trying to do? Should other people like where's the line for acting? But like I
Mm-hmm.
said, I'm not gonna
Yeah.
I have
Yeah,
no
yeah,
say in what the line for acting is. But this one I can agree with you. But I also didn't like that the whole story of this revolves around twins. And that doesn't help either.
yeah. Yeah.
All right. So that's our thoughts on actors playing siblings. Van Damme, good. Anyone else?
Right.
Nah.
Right.
Basically, yeah. I think that it would have been, especially if they are going to have interactions with each other, or especially if we get to a point where they're fighting each other.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need to see two Amanda
Yeah,
Stenbergs fighting each other.
that's always a strange look. Even with the advances in technology, like they can still never make it look right when they do end up doing that.
No.
But I don't know. Time will tell. 6 episodes to go.
Yeah. So, how did you feel about Lee Jing Jae as Soul and his
Like,
kind of bringing
yeah,
in that bringing him into the story a little bit as Osha, because basically it seems like they were putting together this story where we have Osha, who was a Jedi Padawan, and Soul was her master,
former master. She
former
was
master, and she was
was.
being trained but had to leave the Jedi Order for some reason.
Mhm.
Did they say why?
They've kind of just alluded to like she chose to leave, but they haven't really gotten too
Gotten
far
into.
into why. Yeah.
But she was founded by basically a fire in which these Jedi's helped save her from this like fire of the burned down her whole village, which killed her family. And until recently, she thought her sister died, and Soul did too, because he said we watched her die, which I don't know what that
Mhm.
means.
And we also
So,
found out May, the sister, thought that Osha has been dead this whole time too. So
and the
they
Jedi's are responsible, and that's why she's on her revenge tour.
sure to kill four Jedi that she thinks are responsible.
And we know of three.
We know of all four now.
Who's the fourth?
Well, Carrie Ann Moss was one,
Yeah,
and then Master Soul is one.
yeah.
The guy she killed, who I can't think of his name, who was floating there like the invincible monk Jedi, and then the fourth one is the Wookiee. The Wookiee.
Oh, yeah. The Wookiee.
Hmm. which will
How
be cool.
come how come everyone in Star Wars understands every language?
So, yeah,
Like a
those are like,
Wookiee goes,
huh?
"Rrrr," and everyone's like, that's a good point. And like a robot's like, and they're like, ha ha ha.
Oh, BB-8,
Oh,
you,
BB-8, you're so funny.
yeah,
And then other people just don't know. Like,
yeah.
what's that Wookiee saying? And you're just like, wait, then how is this Wookiee a Jedi? Like, are we going to get scenes in which this Wookiee is just roaring at the screen and we're supposed to know what's happening? Are they going to subtitle the Wookiee? Like, if he's going to be a main character, like, what are we about to get? Or is this Wookiee going to start talking?
I think it's all. It's, no, I don't. Ooh, that'd be interesting, but I
Is this
don't think
Wookiee going to
so.
talk?
I think it'll just kind of like be like Chewie was throughout the years. He roars, and then you have somebody who can understand, like Han Solo in those situations, and they kind of relay it to the audience, like, "Oh, Chewie, you idiot!" Like it'll
But
just be
this,
more
but like this Wookiee is involved in the plot.
right.
So like we need information from this Wookiee, not just like feelings. We need to know like
we we need information from this Wookiee is just a funny sentence to say.
but we but we do. Like we need to know why like this chick is coming to kill this Wookiee. So like is she gonna be like, attack me first, and the Wookiee's gonna go, "Arr!" and they'll be like, oh, what did he mean by that?
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. I just like seeing a Wookiee and stuff in Star
Yeah, I
Wars.
mean,
They're
and
they're
in
a
a
fun
main
race.
yeah, they're cool, and usually they're always just kind of like you said, to the side, and they've never
Hmm.
been focused on. Like May is coming to whoop on this Wookiee. Like she's going to get revenge on this Wookiee. So like, what are we doing here?
It's gonna
I
be
I I really want to see if the Wookiee's just going to be like, well, sorry, May, I apologize.
welcome to my shack. Welcome to my jungle shack. Let's fight.
Ah,
No, it had a roar already at the end of episode 2. I
I
think
know it did.
it's cool to have the idea of a Jedi Wookiee is fun to
Yeah,
me. I don't know why.
I'm there's been Jedi everything else. So yeah, let's throw a lightsaber on a Wookiee and let's see what you got.
Yeah,
No,
it's a cool thing. But to answer your original question,
I
that's
don't even remember what it was.
about Squid Game.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, beyond getting past the initial thoughts of I couldn't not see Squid Game when I'm looking at him, I didn't mind him in this. I think he seems like a good actor from what I can tell, and is kind of playing the mentor, old wise Jedi role that we've seen
Mhm.
played by with Qui-Gon Jinn and Yoda and whoever. He's like the older statesman taking these younger, even Ahsoka to a certain level on the last show.
Yeah.
And you always kind of got to have a character like that in
Yeah.
whenever you're telling Jedi stories. So he's kind of playing it okay to me so far. Like you said, beyond the stuff of him just being kind of gullible to everything. Like I do agree with that. I didn't really think about it, but after you said, I was like, yeah, he's very just kind of go with the flow. Like everything OSHA is telling me is like, all right, I guess it's true. You know
After
what I
he
mean?
and like the scene right before that, he's like talking with that Yord guy, and
Hmm.
he's like, it can't be May. I watched her die. And then like he sees Osha in the next scene, and Osha's like, it's May, she's alive. I believe you. And like the next scene after that, he's like, Yord, May's alive. And you're like, you
Hmm.
just got done telling this dude that you watched
Right.
her die. This other
Hmm.
girl just says she's alive, and you're immediately like, yup, that's the truth. And you're just like, wait, you
Yeah.
need no proof in this. You literally watched her die.
Yeah.
Someone else says, no, you didn't. And he's just like, yup, that's the truth. It wasn't Osha. And you're like, okay.
Huh? Yeah.
Uh-huh. It's
Yeah.
one of those things. But
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
cleared her real quick. Like we didn't go on
Mhm.
like this thing where Osha was wanted for a long time trying to solve the mystery and prove her innocence. We just like immediately they did the Seinfeld one. What was the killer that they had on Seinfeld in that one episode when we went to LA? Where they thought,
Oh, the strangle something strangler.
yeah, I
Oh,
can't
where
remember the
the Lopper, or no, not the Lopper. The Lopper was another serial killer from Seinfeld. But when they thought Kramer was killing people,
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
and then they arrested Kramer for the crime,
yeah,
and then he killed again, so Kramer couldn't be it. And he's like,
right.
"Oh, someone got killed while this killer struck again," and they're dancing outside that thing.
Because the murderer struck again.
There it is. And that they just pulled the Seinfeld where they're just like, "Oh well, she killed again while OSHA was in our custody, so can't be
Yeah.
her. She's innocent." And you're just like, And then they went back to the well and they almost made it look like she killed the Bee Gees guy.
Right.
Because then I'm just like, why did she go the other way
Hmm.
just so they could think that he poisoned or she poisoned him? And I'm just
Right.
like,
She's
and
like,
then
I can explain.
yeah, and I was like, why do that? And then the dude walks in, she's innocent. I'm like, then why did we do that?
Yeah,
What was the
that was
point of her going up those stairs and going in a different direction if it didn't lead anywhere?
they just wanted her to be the first one in the room, I guess, but to discover it
But
herself without,
why?
I don't know, didn't
She could have
kind of,
just felt she could have just sensed her sister and just ran past everybody and got there
yeah,
faster. She didn't
right.
need to go a separate way and tease this idea that she did it. I know this looks bad.
That
Like,
she's about to be accused again, right?
yeah, I'm like, why do any of that when you
Uh,
immediately have Yord walk in and he's just like, uh-huh.
I followed her. She did nothing wrong.
I kept eyes on her constantly. I was like, all right,
Right.
Yord.
Yeah. And he's a little annoying as a
I know.
character.
And
But yeah,
what's her
he's fine with me so far, the Squid Game, I guess.
Oh yeah, he's cool. Like I said, it's just
Mm.
that's just the writing. He's fine. He did the his fight sequence with May was cool.
Oh, that was
Um
dope. That was
yeah,
dope. Them out
yeah.
there. That yeah.
Him really forcing using the force on her real good was fun. I
Mhm.
enjoyed watching that until Yord jumped in.
Right.
It's true, and he just started.
Stay out of this, Yord.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. Which they already set us up with Jackie, the
Hmm.
little mini Logan girl,
That's the only other real actress or actor of note that I can think of in this that I
Daphne
recognize
Keene.
is yeah, her from Logan, grown
Yeah,
up a little
Logan,
bit.
and she was in the His Dark Materials HBO show.
Okay.
She was the main girl in that. So yeah, she's been in a bunch of stuff. She's one of those. Isn't it weird how there's some like kid actors that seem like they stay the same age for years?
Right.
Like
Like
she looks exactly the same as she did in Logan, and that was like what
yeah.
12 years ago or something ridiculous.
Yeah, she's just a small diminutive person,
Yeah,
so like she kind of looks the same as she did back then. A little bit, just obviously a little more grown up, but like same size. She's just a small
yeah,
actress. So it's like you still look like that kid I watched in Logan still.
yeah. And she's still like playing. Because I feel like this girl is like 12.
Right. She's young.
She still feels like she's like a teenager. So I'm like, aren't you past being a teenager now? Like you were
Yeah.
doing that same thing in Logan forever
Right.
ago.
Right. Yeah.
It's just weird how there's some child actors that seem like they get old real quick,
Hmm.
and you're like, damn, they got old, and then other ones that just can ride that wave.
That's why they had to make Walt get lost at sea and lost because he was getting too old.
He did get too old.
And then when you saw Walt at the end of Lost, you're like, "You're a full grown man." Like,
Lost
uh,
at sea. They did, man. They just threw that kid on a boat and was like, bye bye, Walt. Poor
getting
kid.
too old, buddy.
Got too old too quick for
Yeah,
a show that went so slow. Yeah, you're
yeah.
right. They couldn't keep him on there
No,
because we couldn't look past it. So
good.
yeah. Anyway, that's a weird sidebar that I forgot about. And you're throwing all these core memories of TV with
I
me
know.
at Lost. There's
It's
been a
all
lot of
coming back.
conversation about Lost recently.
Yeah.
Where are we talking about Star Wars though? We thought about well, we just ran out of script, man. So
No, we talked about the early death already, but
yep.
like we kind of touched on. Do you like the? Does this seem like a mystery you're gonna have to solve, or is it still too simple? Or are you hoping that the reveal of her master is going to be some kind of interesting thing, or is it just going to be like you said, the mask is going to come off and it might be someone we don't even know? So is there any mystery to this, like the way they're kind of trying to make it seem?
I don't know what the mystery would be at this point. Like they were setting it up with like making it be twin sisters. Like I really feel
Yeah.
like they played their mystery. Like we don't
Hmm.
have a killer mystery, like who's killing Jedi. We don't know who that is because we already know who it is. They're not. I mean, who the master is, I guess, could be a mystery, but I don't think that's something that we're gonna solve. And I definitely ain't gonna be something I can solve because I can't think of one name from this era
Right.
of Star Wars to try to guess who it might be, unless, like I said, they go really like it's Palpatine,
Hmm.
or something similar or stupid like that. Um, so I mean, I they could maybe make it like that, but I mean, I feel like they were setting it up to be like a murder mystery, but then
Right.
not really because we knew who killed her.
Yeah.
We know who killed in the beginning. Like I don't know.
Yeah,
I,
the
I
the
think that would have
mystery
been a
of
lot more fun.
yeah, the mystery of it could have been if they wanted it to be like clearing OSHA's name the whole time
Hmm.
and not knowing exactly what was going on with the assassin, but they did reveal that so early. So the reveal of the master, like the Dark Master, would be the only mystery to solve. And I feel like if does become something like that, the payoff won't be something for us, unless it's something they show us in this show, like, oh, it's her father that we thought was died in that fire, or another family member, or something like. If you do something like that, but if it ends up just being someone from High Republic lore, from that, it's a character you know from one of the books or one of the comics. That's just something we'll be like, I don't know who that is, but whatever. So I don't know that kind of vibe. I don't know if it's gonna pay off in the end, but I kind of think that's what they seem like they're trying to go for. Uh, but I don't know how it's gonna hit come the end of this show. So we'll see.
Yeah, I I think it would have been cooler as like a full on murder mystery. Like you have someone murdering Jedi Masters out there, and this girl's getting framed for it. I don't know how you do that without her being a sister or something, but I mean, like I said, they gave away kind of what would be the mystery to me. But yeah,
Yeah.
no, I kind of digging. I like I said, I've enjoyed it. I did enjoy it.
Yeah. No,
Simple,
me
yes.
too.
Um,
Me too. And I don't, the only other thing I think we have to just touch on briefly is just the reception of this show outside of that.
mhm.
It's another Star Wars thing that is divisive. And what is it about the Star Wars community? And is it just the Star Wars community, or is it other things too? I mean, this happens in Marvel and DC too, but just like the people who just, I don't know, just will hate on something for the dumbest reasons, for casting reasons, for they feel like some kind of they have some ownership of this franchise where if it's not exactly the way that it made you feel when you grow up, and the people are different and the storylines seem less whatever to your
Mhm.
liking, it's just like you take it upon yourselves to just shit on something for, like, if something is going to get shit on for reasons that it's bad, I'm totally for that. I join in with that.
Yeah.
But just to be like, I'm not gonna watch it because it's too this or too that, dude. It's just so, it gets so old, and I hate that we always keep talking about that, especially with this
It's
franchise.
with Disney. It's become a Disney thing, I feel like, where
Hmm.
people feel like Disney's too woke and they're forcing an agenda. And that, I don't know.
But it's just entertainment. It's just like this is what entertainment kind of looks like now. A little bit like it's changed. Things have changed. Like, I'm sorry, there's not a Luke Skywalker on this show for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, this is a different show. You had Obi-Wan. You can go watch that if you want to old characters that you're used to and familiar with. But
They
this
still
is just,
complain. There were still complaints about that one.
I know they didn't
There's just
like
complaints about
baby Leia.
casting.
Yeah,
It's
I
always
guess.
casting. It's just casting and character, and you can't. There's no diversity in Star Wars. So
Yeah, it's just so like tiresome and old, and I hate hearing about it. And it's like, if you're gonna review this show and say it's bad, just do it on the merit of the show, not just based because you don't like the people they cast in it, or you don't
yeah,
like the themes, and you don't like the showrunner being whoever she is, and just like it's just so mind-boggling to me. Like, I'm sometimes glad I'm not part, like, really deep into the Star Wars fan base, because that shit is just like, dude, this is all fictional space stuff. Like, you're taking all this way too seriously. Like, grow up a little bit.
it's a show
Yeah.
for kids.
As you've said a few different times.
I
Yeah.
mean, that's what it is. I mean, yes, it has some heavy themes and whatnot, and kids have matured differently. I mean,
Yeah.
PG Star Wars for us is clearly different than PG-13 episodes, 7, 8, and 9, which were a little bit heavier, but they were still
Hmm.
very simple stories. And yeah, there may be some real dense books out there. Or there might be some stories out there if you really look through the lore and you can find that heavier, more mature kind of theme. But I feel like it's all still there for kids. So, I mean, it's like I've never really expected too much out of it. So yeah, I don't care who gets cast in things. What I care about is when you cast people I want to see and then you kill them.
Right.
That's what
That
bothers
that's
me.
the part that bothers me. Yeah.
I don't care. I mean, if the person's right for the role, they're right for the role. And if that's what you want to do, I mean, if you have an agenda that they're trying to cast these people in there, I don't know what it is. So, I mean, it doesn't affect me one way or another. I hate seeing it and I hate that people take it too far. A lot of times, depending on what the reasoning is. I fully don't know the reasoning behind why this
It's
show is being review bombed. Um,
Yeah, it's just like if you're gonna review it badly, just do it on its merit. That's my main argument. And if you don't want to watch it, just don't watch it.
well,
Like,
the thing that always baffles my mind is every one of these shows that gets review bombed, then it comes out that record numbers of people watched it. So, if you didn't review,
as with this show, the
yeah,
first two
they said like
episodes.
48 million people watched it in the first day or 2 days or
Yeah,
something. So if you're going to
right,
review bomb something, like, wouldn't it be better to not give it attention and not watch it and then let it flop and then you can laugh at it for flopping?
right.
Like, that feels like a better path. Instead, we're going to bring attention to it and let the media be able to put out and say, oh, Star Wars Acolyte's getting review bombed again. The people hate it, and they put out their negative articles that everybody reads and clicks, and then they go, "Oh, I want to see it and see why people are hating on it,"
Yeah, that
and then
kind of
more
makes
people
people want
watch
to
it.
watch it more. Right.
So it doesn't make sense if you ignore it and don't pay
Yeah.
attention to it and say, you know what? Maybe Star Wars isn't for me anymore. If this bothers you that much, like, just
Hmm.
step away. I've done that from things where sometimes you make a game and like, this game isn't for me. I like the first one, don't like the second one. Sorry.
Hmm.
And it sucks sometimes and it hurts if it's a big part of what you do, but like, things change. So you have to kind of roll with it. Star Wars, I feel like, left me a long time ago. I still like watching it because there's a part of me that does, but yeah, I don't get the I don't get that passion. Maybe I'm not passionate about things, but I feel like it's about other things than just passion for Star Wars.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. I just wanted to touch on it just because I'm tired of talking about it, but we keep having to because they keep doing stuff like this
No, I
with
guess, yeah, I know they keep doing it. Does it do anything? Like, do we get still season twos of these shows, or that they've review bombed, or does it work? Are
Well, I'm
these
trying to
shows
think. I'm trying to think of another example of something that just happened to. Like, I know they were doing it very heavy with She-Hulk,
and She-Hulk got
uh,
canceled?
and well,
But
that's to
nobody
be
watched
determined.
She-Hulk either, I don't think.
Yeah, that's to be determined a little bit. I think I don't. It
Oh,
hasn't
is it?
fully come out. I think the biggest reason for them saying it might not get another season is because it was very expensive for what it was.
Yeah.
They spent a lot of money on like all the CGI they had to use in that show, so it might not just be cost effective for them. But I don't think that's going to stop us from seeing She-Hulk again in something.
Mm-mm.
Like she'll definitely pop up in one of these future movies where there's fucking 100 characters in it. Um, so that's like one of the more recent ones I can think of, but that might not come back for different reasons. I don't think it really affects it. I think at the end of the day, it's all just like how many people watched it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, because if
review review bombing at the end of the day on like Rotten Tomatoes, does that ever really affect something? No, I think the bottom line is always the dollars and the ratings
of
and
course.
the reaction, and critics have a say in that too. So who knows, man? I don't think review bombing does anything except just make people feel like they're actually doing something when at the end of the day you're not even doing anything that matters. Yeah,
Yeah.
no one cares about your Rotten Tomatoes review or this sucks and this isn't the Star Wars I grew up on. Like that's not affecting any outcome. So it's just kind of like you're wasting your time and find a different hobby.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a lot of there's a lot to hold on to negative energy. So I
Yes,
hope I
agreed.
hope this becomes a trend that dies down because yeah, every Disney project that happens
It's
and it gets
tiresome.
review bombed. I mean, when we're to the point where we are review bombing Lightyear, it's like, come on.
Right.
There's some problems. There's
Yeah.
some deeper seed issues here.
Go touch some grass, guy.
A little bit, a little bit, a little bit. So I think we can both kind of safely say that we're probably gonna be coming back for episode 3 next week and
I
continue
will.
on this journey
Yeah.
and see where it goes.
Yeah. I'm not blown away, but I'm also not saying like that's enough for me. I'm to the point where it's like, all right, nice start. Let's see where you go with it. I'll check it out.
Yeah, and keep
Oh,
keep these
the
30
episodes aren't
something minute
overly long.
episodes.
Yeah.
Keep these
Yeah.
shorter episodes, and I'm golden. If these were hour plus episodes, I might struggle, but
Yeah, that'd be one thing. If they were like House of Dragon length, Saw those some of those times coming out like 70 minutes, like ugh. But
Hmm.
yeah. But yeah, nice length, nice start. Um, don't have to think too much about it. I'm for it. Give me some more martial arts Star Wars action. I'll stay tuned for now.
For now, we're going to stay tuned. I'm sure we will talk about it again on this show. What we probably will be talking about next week, though, is The Boys season 4 premiere is Thursday. They're dropping 3 episodes on us, then weekly until July, I think 16th or somewhere in there.
Mhm.
So we're Boys season 4 is here.
Yeah. Your boy Homelander back, buddy.
Yeah, Homelander on trial.
Yeah.
This is going to be a
Art imitates life again.
again, and the Boys seems to find a way to do it in an
They do.
election year, so that should be fun.
It's hilarious.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting to watch. I'm definitely looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to talking about it with you on the
Hmm.
show. And if you want to hear that, you want to make sure you like and subscribe to Raised a Geek so you do not miss a conversation that we have. And if you'd like to join that conversation, as I said in the beginning, raisethegeek@gmail.com. Hit us up on socials at Raise the Geek, or you can, and make sure to subscribe to the show so you don't miss it anyway. Get those alerts and notifications and all that happy bullshit on, as well as subscribe over on YouTube. So you can see our faces and be like, hi,
Hello.
hi. But I think you got any final thoughts on Star Wars Acolytes or anything else that you want to get out there into the world?
No, sir. I think we covered it all. And yeah, Star Wars show watched.
Star Wars show watch. Check.
Yeah.
Well, with that said, that's going to do it for us this week. So for Raise the Geek, I'm Chris.
And I'm done.
And thanks for checking out the show.
Where geek is all we speak.